Adam 20?
Sorry, Baker.
Baker?
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
That's
We
okay,
just-
Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, and all the committee. I'm pleased to present to you today AB 2346, and I would like to start by thanking the committee and the committee staff for working with my office to draft very good amendments, which I am pleased to accept. This bill addresses a lack of accessibility of public social service position statements prior to the human services hearings. Now, the Department of Social Services annually holds about 100,000 hearings regarding benefits to claimants or participants in their programs, our constituents. These hearings often concern issues of denial of medical services, which can be life-threatening and exacerbate medical conditions. About 10% of those cases subject of these hearings are held in rural and semi-rural counties. Most rural hearings are conducted over the phone to save Department of Social Services money by not requiring judges to travel to remote areas. Claimants in these state hearings, our constituents, are not afforded a similar convenience or luxury. In fact, they're required to go to the county Department of Social Services in person to get a copy of the county's position statement in preparation for the hearing. And in addition, the Department of Healthcare Services position statements that are needed in these hearings are only required to be available minutes before the hearing begins. Now, our state law provides that a county's position statement is only made available at the County Department of Social Services. Currently, you cannot get the statement prior to the hearing online or by email, which is a pretty antiquated way of doing things. The inability to access hearing documents electronically anywhere but the county office imposes additional costs on our lower income participants and constituents, especially in rural and semi-rural areas. Now, existing law was enacted in 1982 when all of the hearings were conducted in person, and that's very much not the modern way of doing things. AB 2346 would make public social service position statements available electronically 2 working days before the hearing. Now, the good amendments from your staff clarify that if a county office is unable to securely make these documents available electronically or through emailed hard copies or mailed hard copies, they can opt out and complete an annual report to us stating that the challenges, what's keeping them from doing it, and what work needs to be done so we can get to a goal of making these documents more accessible to California participants. The bill saves our constituents time and money by eliminating the need for claimants to travel to the Department of Social Services for necessary hearing documents and the child care that they often have to get and the other additional support or time off from work that they may have to impose upon themselves. Making public social service position statements electronically accessible does modernize and streamline our human services hearings, and it's something that's much in need of our doing. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote and would like to introduce our witness in support, Kevin Aslanian, with the Coalition for California Welfare Rights Organizations.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Aslanian. I'm with the sponsor of the bill, and this bill is an attempt to bring the state hearing process into the 21st century and allow people to get these things electronically. For example, in LA, somebody has to travel from Lancaster all the way down to downtown Wilshire to pick up the position statement and then drive all the way back up to Lancaster. That just doesn't make sense in the 21st century when you have all this electronic stuff. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Is any witness in support?
Andrew Shane, California Association of Food Banks, support as amended. Thank you.
Any in opposition? None? Any questions? No? Okay. So if you want to close?
Well, I just thank you for your respectful attention, and I do respectfully request an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Which will happen later because they don't have a quorum.
Yeah.
We don't have quorum, but the soon we have.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we're going to have number 8. Number 8, waiver.
Thank you.
Assemblyman waiver. AB 1747.
Exactly. Thank you. Madam Speaker and members, today I'm here to present to you AB 1747, the College Student Hunger Relief Act of 2016. In November of 2015, I chaired an Assembly Select Committee on Campus Climate hearing at San Diego State to help the legislature better understand and address the issue of food insecurity on campuses. The Select Committee learned that food insecurity and student homelessness issues aren't new for thousands of college students throughout California. Students continue to face these obstacles as they struggle to simply graduate. What is different this time is the efforts taking place to address these food insecurities on campuses. Colleges and universities throughout California are evaluating the issue and are beginning to take action. A recent CSU study found that 24% of students surveyed, nearly 1 in 4 students, are food insecure. Another survey by the Wisconsin Hope Lab found that over half of the 4,000 respondents at 10 community colleges across the nation face some form of food insecurity. Both studies recommend that schools expand outreach and enrollment efforts for students to use the EBT on campus. As a result of this and other recommendations from the recent climate hearing, it led to basically the development of AB 1747. AB 1747 offers a small but meaningful step towards supporting students struggling to prevent hunger by, one, requiring our universities and colleges receiving public funds to accept the electronic benefit transfer card through which low-income Californians receive CalFresh and CalWorks benefits and make services available to students without a fee or surcharge. It requires universities and colleges to participate in their county's CalFresh restaurant meal program developed to prevent hunger among elderly, disabled, and homeless students. It also establishes a program to improve coordination between campus food pantries and California food banks. And it improves access to funds supporting CalFresh outreach on campus. Finally, out of a compromise with the California Banking Association and the California Credit Union League, I'm making a commitment to remove the section or portion of the bill that would prohibit institutions from entering into a contract with a bank or financial institution that imposes a fee or surcharge on an individual using an EBT card. So we've had a very good and productive conversation with them to remove that section. Here to speak on behalf of AB 1747, I know Jessica Bartholomew is supposed to be here. She's at another hearing. She may get here in time. She represents the Western Center on Law and Poverty. Kathleen Selk, who is one of our Young Invincibles, and Kevin Sabo, who is the president of UC Student Association. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Bonilla and members of the committee. My name is Kathleen Selke, and I am a volunteer with Young Invincibles, a millennial research and advocacy organization that works to expand financial opportunity for young adults. I flew in from Los Angeles today just for this hearing because I hope to make you understand what facing hunger as a college student is really like. In 1998, I entered college as a first-generation student. At that time, I believed I had exhausted all options for financial aid. As a fully self-supported student, I had to work full-time while maintaining a full course load just to stay in school. In my freshman year, after paying for tuition, fees, and rent, I could hardly pay for my school books, let alone groceries, and soon my health started failing. I lost 10 pounds, was diagnosed with TMJ, insomnia, and severe anxiety. It would not be an exaggeration to say that school almost killed me. I took a leave of absence, and upon returning to University of California, Santa Barbara, 12 months later, I continued to work full-time but supplemented my earnings with private student loans to reduce my financial burden. When we think about providing aid for schools, the conversation often seems to stop at tuition, but on average, non-tuition expenses account for the majority of the cost of attendance. Success in school depends on more than just tuition support. If you can't feed yourself, you can't graduate. I serve as an example, and I know so many students now face the same challenge. While I was mentally equipped for a rigorous learning environment, without my basic needs being met, my grades and health quickly plummeted. When I returned to school with additional financial assistance and was able to eat, I thrived, even making the dean's list, while working full-time, double majoring, and operating my own business. Access to food assistant programs such as SNAP and EBT on and around campuses could be the difference in whether a student graduates or drops out. We must increase outreach to assist students in understanding how to navigate the help that is available to them, and we must make these programs accessible across all California colleges. I'm shocked that almost 20 years later, food insecurity is still a major obstacle in beginning, thriving, and completing one's education. And with tuition and fees at both 4-year and 2-year institutions having risen 28% since the beginning of the 2008 financial crisis, I fear for future students, including my 4 younger siblings who have yet to complete or even go to school, as my experience discouraged them to do so. I hope you'll take action to make obtaining a higher education accessible to them and future generations. AB 1747 offers some modest steps in this direction. For this reason, I'm proud to share on behalf of Young Invincibles that we are proud to support and sponsor this bill and ask you for your aye vote.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Kevin Sabo, and I'm the president of the University of California Student Association. On behalf of 250,000 students, it's an honor to be here speaking on an issue personally very important to me and so many students across the state. For far too long, UC students have been working to raise awareness of food insecurities on our campuses. Finally, we have legislation that takes aim at fixing pieces of this problem. While we can't do much about campuses not being located in food desert areas or extremely affluent areas with only Whole Foods, for example, available, we can do much more to support hungry students and their families right here on our campuses. AB 1747 will take an important step towards addressing growing hunger on campuses by expanding student access to EBT points in the places where they live, work, and eat. Campuses, food vendors, and our communities must come together and work in partnerships with counties, or the problem will continue and worsen. Additionally, we recognize the benefit of food pantries on our campuses and thank UC President Napolitano for providing the initial seed funding that initiated these programs and got them up and running. However, this money is not permanent and a more sustainable path must be identified. We believe that state contributions can go a long way through our food pantries. As students, we support ongoing conversations around these issues of campus climate and student life, which include food and housing insecurity. This issue does not discriminate and affects students you may never assume might be affected by this. Every effort we make to reduce hunger on our campus, someone is guaranteed to have a healthier and safer day, and how often can we truly claim that in Sacramento? UCSA stands in strong support of this legislation, and we're proud to co-sponsor it alongside a progressive titan like the Western Center on Law and Poverty. From holding hearings on the subject to being the author of this bill, we'd also like to thank Assemblymember Weber for her continued leadership and, more importantly, her partnership with UC students to address the food crisis. Thank you.
Any witness in support?
Almost ran into that. Madam Chair, Mike Harold with the Western Center on Law and Poverty. We are a co-sponsor of this measure, proud to be so, and we urge your support today in the committee.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Ron Rapp on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers, speaking in support.
Madam Chair, Andrew Shane from the California Association of Food Banks in strong support.
Hector Gutierrez from California Food Policy Advocates in support.
Good afternoon, Kevin Aslan, Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organizations, strong support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Meredith Turner with the Cal State Student Association in support.
Good afternoon, Gustavo Herrera, Regional Director of Young Invincibles, here in support.
Assemblymember Weber, do you want to close?
I think there's any opposition.
Any witness in opposition?
Madam Chair, Rodney Wilson with the California Credit Union League. While we had registered our opposition, I'm pleased to report that we've been working with Dr. Weber and plan to remove our opposition as soon as amendments we've agreed to are accepted and in print. I'd like to thank Dr. Weber, members of the committee, and their staff for hearing our concerns. You know, credit unions, by nature of who they are, promote thrift and access to financial services and access to the unbanked, and the amendments to the bill will allow credit unions to maintain the relationship they have with faculty, students, and the colleges they currently serve. Thank you.
Afternoon, Madam Chair, members. Alex Alanis with California Bankers Association. Although we do have an official opposed position to the bill, we greatly appreciate Dr. Weber's amendments that she's proposed, removing the provision relating to ATMs and then a commitment to work on provision relating to ensuring that surcharge-free transactions are accessible on each campus using the EBT system. I think that just needs to be a little more massaged because it wanted to make sure that it doesn't even fall into the same issue relating to ATMs. But she's committed to doing that, and we appreciate her commitment on that, and we'll work with her on some changes. We don't want to change the intent. We think the intent is an admirable intent in moving the bill forward, and I don't think any of us disagreed with that. So we just want to make sure that that gets tightened up. But once we get those amendments, we'll remove our opposition, but we won't be working the bill after that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other speakers in opposition? Not seeing any. Questions from the committee? Not seeing any. Would you like to close?
Yes, I want to thank clearly those who've come today from the Young Invincibles and the UC campus that's here, and the strong support from the Western Center on Law and Poverty. And obviously thank our colleagues here from the banking industry for working with us to arrive at a situation where we'll achieve our goal, which is to really create an opportunity for young people to use their EBT cards on campus. When we began this whole process some years ago, it was because I had a student who worked in my office who complained about not being able to use her EBT card on campus, and shared with me how difficult and how complicated it was to try to get food, to have to leave campus when you had difficulty finding a park, to go get some food in between classes, and all those kinds of things that took place that really made our campuses somewhat unfriendly to those who were recipients of CalFresh and CalWorks. In addition to that, since then we've been brought to our attention as the chair of the Campus Climate Committee that we began to look at other things more than just racial and gender issues, but issues that as our campuses change, what kind of climate is it and what kind of welcoming environment do we want to have on our campus. And one of the things we did look at last year was the issue of homelessness and food insecurity. And we realized that many of our campuses were doing a good job in responding to the issues that were on their campus with food banks and serving 300 and 400 students a month on some of the campuses of students who didn't have the basic, which was food, as well as being homeless. So we realized that there was a tremendous need, and so we're grateful to be able to bring this bill forward to hopefully address the issue of food insecurity in a different way on our campus, to make our campus more open and receptive to all of the students that we're reaching out to in California. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. We need a motion. Second. And this would be a due pass to the Assembly Committee on Higher Education. And we'll go ahead and vote on that and then hold it open.
Bonilla?
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Grove? Calderon? Lopez?
Aye.
Lopez, aye. Mainshine? Stone? Thurman? Thurman, aye. That bill only has 3 votes, needs 1 more.
We need 1 more. We'll hold it open.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Apologize for having to be absent briefly. I sit on the Health Committee and had to go vote, as did Mr. Thurman. That committee has now ended, so we will continue on with our hearing. Our next presenter is Assemblymember Lackey, AB 1930. I just got to vote on one of Mr. Lackey's bills over in the Health Committee. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 1930. And before I begin, I want to note, per the committee analysis, that I'm committed to working on the bill in order to clarify how people will be appointed in case of vacancies. So we'll work on that moving forward. Assembly Bill 1930 simply establishes an advisory committee to study the availability of barriers to accessing employment-based supports and protections, such as federal Social Security benefits, for IHSS providers who care for a spouse or child. Currently, individuals who provide services through the state's IHSS program to their child or spouse are not allowed to contribute towards specific benefits like Social Security. This means that when they retire, if they become disabled themselves, or if they lose their job, these hardworking caregivers do not have access to our nation's most important programs for seniors and the uninsured. This has resulted in terrible economic hardship for tens of thousands of IHSS workers who are at or near retirement age. It also results in indirect costs to taxpayers as hardworking seniors are forced into poverty and reliance on the state's public assistance programs.
We have a motion. And going.
Well, thank you. This committee would include a wide variety of policy experts on the subject and various representatives from state government. Ultimately, the advisory committee would report back to the legislature with recommendations on steps that the state could take to ensure that these IHSS providers are taking care of are taking care of family members and have access to Social Security, Medicare, and UI. I have with me Christina Bass Hamilton on behalf of the sponsor, and Roxanne Bender, an IHSS provider from El Dorado County.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and special thanks to Assemblymember Lackey for authoring this bill. As was stated, it's unfortunate, and I am surprised when I talk with most legislators about this problem that it is also not very well known that if you are a spouse or a parent to the client for whom you provide care, you are not allowed to participate in the same type of basic employment protections that everybody else in America enjoys. And what happens is, and this is something that has been called to our attention for many years by our members, is that you could work your whole adult life and never essentially be able to retire because you have no Social Security or Medicare upon retirement, which is your basic, and we all know that that in and of itself isn't enough to get by, but these people don't even have that. And so for a lot of these folks, they can never stop working, or if they do, they plummet into homelessness and dependency on other welfare programs. So one of the most profound experiences that I've had working for UDW was when I was at a membership meeting in San Diego, and after the meeting, a woman came up to me and she was very upset. And what I got from her was that she was a parent, caring for her adult disabled daughter for over 25 years, and she had just gone to the Social Security office in San Diego to inquire about her benefits, and she literally had the printout from the office, and it had every year of her adult life with a zero next to it, which essentially meant she had no credit for those years of her life. And she basically was looking at me and saying, what am I supposed to do? I have nothing. And I had nothing to tell her. I said, I'm sorry, I need to look at this. And where we landed was this is a complicated problem that has something to do with federal issues. It also has something to do with the state and how it interprets federal issues. And so this bill is our attempt to begin to educate and to build awareness around this problem and to look at the consequences in terms of communities and hopefully come to some recommendations. So we respectfully ask for your aye vote, and I would like to introduce one of our members who is here from El Dorado County who is directly impacted by this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In support.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee, for giving me the opportunity to testify. I also thank you, Assemblyman Lackey, for agreeing to author this bill. My name is Roxanne Bender. I am a UDW member and an in-home support service provider in El Dorado County. I provide care for my 39-year-old son who was born with a brainstem defect, which left him unable to speak, get around, chew, or even feed himself. My full-time job is my son. He is my home care client and requires constant care and supervision. The IHSS program is important for recipients like my son and families like mine. But unfortunately, because I provide care for my son, I have many hard-earned wages that are not eligible for FICA deductions. This means that I will not receive Social Security or Medicare, when I reach retirement age. I've been my son's IHSS provider for over 20 years. People who work for 20 years typically have the guarantee that regardless of what else happens, they will at least have a financial safety net and access to health care when they reach retirement age. I care for my son full-time because he needs it. Being his caregiver is the best job for me. But I worry. I worry about my husband, who is my co-caregiver, and myself. My husband is 62 years old with a bad back. He will have to work until his body fails since we don't have retirement. And I can't imagine that I will ever retire either without access to Social Security and Medicare. I will likely have to work the rest of my life to make ends meet. This is a true injustice, and it keeps me up at night worrying about my family's future. Being excluded, again, excluded from safety net programs as basic to American workers as Social Security and Medicare makes me feel very undervalued and underappreciated. I feel like I am not respected for the work I do as a professional caregiver full-time. I urge you all to pass AB 1930 so that we can take the first step in understanding how exclusion from Social Security and Medicare impacts IHSS providers, and so that we can fix this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much for raising this important issue. Others in support, name and organization.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Joshua Golka with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. For all the reasons articulated, we're also in support.
Michael Young on behalf of the California Labor Federation, also here in support.
Thank you.
Kevin Asley on Coalition California Welfare Rights Organization, strong support. Thank you.
C.T. Weber, Peace and Freedom Party, California Legislative Committee Chair, in support.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, any questions from committee members? Mr. Thurman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the author, and thank you for your incredible service to your son, your family, and to our state. Just one question about the way the working group would approach its work. I mean, obviously, big issues, important issues. Having heard that we would have someone who's been a provider for 20 years, no consideration for these programs, will the committee make one of its charges looking at the idea of how to treat that, whether there's some retroactive consideration for time served for someone who maybe has already served 1 or 2 careers worth of time and hasn't had any benefit time accrued on the books?
No, I think that's definitely a legitimate consideration that needs to be taken into account, and we look forward to having this committee formed so that they can address this issue in a very formal way.
Thank you. I'll second the bill.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Yeah, question. Yes, Ms. Lopez.
Yes, I just wanted thank you to bring this issue. Formerly, I was taking care of my mom for 16 years, and I had to work 2 jobs besides taking care of my mom, and I see it that needed. And so many people, they're so busy taking care of their families, they don't have the time to come and testify, but I really appreciate you present here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Motion and second, and this is a due pass to, Mr. Thurman seconded it. Yeah. Is it a due pass to approves? No amendments, okay?
Bonilla?
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Grove? Calderon? Lopez? Aye. Lopez, aye. Mainshine? Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Thurman? Aye. Thurman, aye. The bill is up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go back now and pick up Dodd's Bill, AB 1667, which was item 2, and I believe we need a motion and a second for. Oh, before we left. Okay. We need a second. Mr. Stone. All right, let's vote on that one.
Bonilla?
Aye.
Bonilla, aye, sorry. Grove? Calderon? Lopez? Aye. Lopez, aye. Mainshine? Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Thurman? Aye. Thurman, aye.
Thank you. Now for Ms. Baker's bill, AB 2346. Do we have a motion and a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please take roll.
Bonilla.
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Grove. Calderon. Lopez. Lopez, aye. Mainshine. Stone. Stone, aye. Thurman. Thurman, aye. Bills.
And then we have Ms. Weber's bill AB 1747 is on call. We would like to go ahead and just add on missing members.
Grove. Calderon. Mainshine. Stone. Stone, aye. The bill is out.
And the bill is out.